Hey everybody, how's it going? Let me get this set up. It always takes just a few minutes for me here to get it all exactly the way it should be. All right, let's all fix our hair. How do we look? Are we good? Yeah? Okay. I am so excited, you guys. Here's the thing. I have not actually received my copy of Wild in the Hollow yet, but I was able to read the first 3 chapters because we were going to talk about them and I needed to. Hi, friends. Hi, Stacy. So today we are going to kick off the Periscope Book Club. We're chatting about Amber Haynes' new book, Wild in the Hollow. I'm in love with it already. I'm really excited to hear what you guys think. So definitely start chatting. If you've had a chance to read the first 3 chapters, go ahead and start talking about your favorite moments, your favorite quotes. I'm going to be sharing some of mine and what I've gotten out of it. So, I guess we should get started. If you haven't gotten your copy of the book yet, though, you can grab it on Amazon. It was like less than $9. And, Amazon Prime, it'll get it to you like 2 days and you'll be all caught up. So, definitely grab it. Feel free just to hang out, though. If you haven't started reading yet, you don't have it, you just want to chat about the book, you just love books, you just love Periscope, you're just here to say hi. It's cool. You're welcome. You're totally welcome to hang out with us. So, we are going to talk about the introduction, the first 3 chapters, Rebel, Capacity 1, and Becoming Kin. And there's something about this book. So I know Amber, and I got a chance to hang out with her a couple weekends ago, and she is just so, okay, so as you're reading through this, the person that you're reading on the page is who she is in real life. She is that beautiful, and her heart is that true, and she's that poetic, and she laughs easily, and she cries easily, and she just feels all the things. And she's not ashamed of it, and it's so, so wonderful to be in her presence because she challenges me. She makes me feel like I can do things, that I'm funnier than I really am. She just has this way of pulling the best out of people. And this book to me is this amazing backstory of how she's gotten to where she is now. And I've read a lot of nonfiction books lately, and people have amazingly wonderful stories. The way that Amber writes is so different and so, so good for my soul because she's so honest and authentic. And now, while I can't exactly relate to every single point that she talks about, and I'm not going to spoil anything, you just need to go read the book, there's so many moments where I was like, I can see that in my life, maybe in a different way. So we'll talk about some of those. But feel free, chat. If you had those aha moments too, where you're reading something and you're like, okay, not exactly how that lined up, but it's amazing how God will use someone else's story to speak to us in situations that we're going through, where it doesn't have to match up exactly. We don't have to be the same person, but we can see the lesson that God has given them, and we can come alongside and say, yeah, I've been there. I've had that interest, that moment, and we'll talk about some of those then. So the introduction, first of all, who writes just such a good introduction to their book? I was like reading through. I was like, yes, keep going. Don't, like, I had to stop myself after 3 chapters or I was going to forget what I wanted to talk about. So totally swoon-worthy, Aaliyah. Okay, the very first thing that I wrote down that I loved that she said was that invisible things were everywhere, but we knew how to listen. And there's something so amazing about that quote to me. I don't know where you grew up, like what part of the country you grew up in. I know that she talks about where she grew up, and I live right now in the tiny town that I grew up in. So I left for college and then came back, and I had these memories coming through as she's talking about this area she grew up in and the things that she did as a child. And I grew up learning how to drive on dirt country roads. Like, I didn't learn to drive on the highway. It was a road that was literally dirt and bumps, and you were not going to see another vehicle because it wasn't even 2 lanes. And, we spent Saturday evenings driving around with big spotlights looking for deer. Not because we were hunting, it's just that's what we were doing. We were trained, our senses were trained to be in the silence and that stillness, and we were able to see so much more and hear so much more than what I experience, I feel like today, because things are so noisy and things are just going all the time. And so, um, I loved how those memories came back to me that yes, I, did know what that was like to be able to feel like I knew that the invisible was there, because we were looking for it. We had that freedom. So, um, the other thing, and guys, please, if you had favorite quotes that you underlined, I want to read them too. I want to see if they match up with mine. So, um, this idea of Eden that she talks about, that she feels so connected to it, and that she can um, just truly understand so much. The way she describes it makes me feel like I understand Eden a little bit more through Amber and how she explains it. Um, the line that she says, they were in the freshness of God's rest, easy sleep and fulfilling work. And I think, isn't that what our hearts all long for? That's that homesickness piece for me. It is the longing for a place to fit, but it's that coming back to a place where we're resting in God has just finished the work, and we're resting, and the work is fulfilling, and we can sleep easy. And I have a toddler, sleep is not easy right now, and so maybe that's why I grabbed onto that quote. But that to me is something so special, that is what Adam and Eve got to experience, that freshness of God's rest, where they were just able to do exactly what God had called them to do, and they were able to rest in it. And then this quote that I love so much, because I love community, and there's a sense of freedom, the belonging that happens with real friends that make you feel like home. And I'd love to hear from you guys if you have those friends, if you've experienced that with friends that make you feel like you're at home, that it's just fulfilling, and it feels like rest when you're with them. You don't have to strive and work. It is rare for me to feel that way, because I tend to put a lot of expectations on friendships and community interaction, and so I miss those moments. And this book really, even just this introduction piece, made me really want to slow down and focus on what God had right in front of me. The things that would probably feel invisible, but they're there. I just have to be quiet, and I have to focus on them. So, okay. I have my notes over here, so that's why I keep looking. All right, so in chapter 1, so the way that this really broke down for me was that Rebel to me was this chapter about sharing stories and sharing space, and then Capacity was about just Amber's beautiful journey to becoming a Christian, and that just raw and how honest and authentic that was, and just probably one of my favorite testimonies of what God can do when we are just chased unrelentlessly by Him. Relentlessly? Unrelentlessly? Grammar. Who needs it? And then becoming kin. Y'all, I just loved this knowing the story now of how she and Seth met, because they are two of my favorite people on the planet. And it was just so special. So in Rebel, there was a lot that I connected with there, and a lot about guilt, and not again the specifics of her story. And I think this is the best part about a really good book, when you can connect with not, it doesn't have to match, but you can connect with it. And she says, I thought I would never be able to do enough to be accepted by God's people, and therefore by God. And I am definitely a people pleaser, and I set these expectations that I can never reach and that others can never reach. And so I've struggled a lot with this idea that I can never be good enough, that I can ever do enough, I can never say enough yeses to enough people to feel secure and feel accepted. And I never realized quite how deep that went until I realized that, I keep God sort of in this pocket where I know He's there all the time. I know He loves me so, so much. But, am I doing enough? Am I doing the right things? Am I saying the right things? I don't know enough about the Bible. I don't know enough about how to speak in front of people and, get them to know Jesus. And, there's all these things I doubt that I know I don't know how to do. And I know that he's okay with me, right? But I don't, there's been times where I've never just really felt like I've been completely embraced and accepted and wanted, you know? And so, this idea of it's not about, doing enough to be accepted by God. That's grace. He just says, yeah, you're mine. I chose you. You don't have to do anything. And that's hard for me. My type A side is like, are you sure there's not a checklist? Are you sure there's not like a step by step that I should do? So that part just really stood out to me. And then where she talks about guilt is the anti-peace, and without the fruit of peace, there's no real freedom and no real home. Instead, there's only the chasing of other new desires we hope will fill the hollow. Gosh, guilt is the anti-peace. So true. So true. All right. So in capacity, and guys, feel free to chat. You really are allowed to. I'm sorry, I have like a fuzzy stuck in my chapstick. So in capacity, she talks about this visit. I don't know how to, I don't want to tell her story. I want you guys to read it. But she talks about going to this place called Freeway. And it was one of those moments where I realized, where am I going? Where am I seeking the things the world is going to tell me will make me free? But really, that's not what it is. There's no freedom in what the world says will bring us freedom, right? There's no freedom in hustle. There's no freedom in doing more and working more and striving more and fixing things on our own or controlling it all, right? There's no freedom in that. There's freedom in Christ and His grace and His love and mercy for us. And so she says, the hush in my spirit, this was freedom, the presence of God. Freedom is peace. So I don't know what those freeways would be for you guys. If you've ever experienced those, you can feel free to chat about them if you want. And then she talks more in that chapter. So much happens in that chapter that's so good. And she talks about if Jesus gets low, then maybe the low way, not the freeway, right? The low way, the broken way of humility is the best way to be in the peace of His presence, where He whispers in us the directions to a promised land. And that goes so much against everything that, especially when you work in social media, right? Like we see people on huge platforms and we see people who are working all the time around the clock to do amazing things, and they're high up on these pedestals, right? But Jesus gets low. He came down to us and He let Himself be broken for us because we're broken, and He calls us anyway, and He claims us. And it's only in those moments, I think, those broken down, low moments where we can really let our minds hear the direction that He is calling us to, that promised land. I don't know what that looks like for you today, if there's something that you're trying to, find your way to. But He's there in those low moments just so much more powerfully, I think, than in any of those mountaintop high, post-church camp kind of experiences that I've ever had, because that's when I need Him. That's whenever I stop feeling like I can do it all on my own, and I can just run to Him and let Him take control, and that's where the freedom is. And then finally she says, light ruptures dark every time. And I think there's such hope in that. There's such hope in her story and in these chapters. And it's not an easy story to read. And I will tell you that if uncomfortable stories make you uncomfortable, you're about to get uncomfortable and you're going to not expect everything that she says. But you need to read it and you need to listen and you need to understand that there is hope through all of this. Light ruptures dark every time. It doesn't matter what your circumstances are. It does not change God's character, and light will win. Okay? So, that was pretty much all I had. I don't know. I probably would have underlined the entire thing. So, um, if you guys are loving it, I'd love to chat with you more about it. You guys can feel free to chat. I don't know. Throw something up there. It's cool. Um, did you have a favorite part? Anybody? Crickets? It's cool. Yeah, that was my favorite part too. Totally loved it. So, all right. Well, we will hang out again next Monday. Um, Aaliyah, tell your kids hi. That's awesome. Um, so we'll hang out again next Monday and we'll do the next 3 chapters. And then if you want, you can find the schedule. Oh gosh, I wish I could have read the whole thing. I had to stop myself seriously or I would have been so confused about what I was talking about. So I'm trying to limit it. So no spoilers, right? Not that, I mean, it's not like we don't know the ending, but whatever. You're so cute. Thank you. Okay, so we're going to hang out again next Monday. We'll talk about the next 3 chapters. If you missed this, if you missed any of the videos, I'm going to have them all over on my site. If you click on blog, there's going to be a drop down. You can find all the videos there. And then feel free, if you just want to chat about this book, you can find me on Twitter or Instagram, same as on Periscope, @CrystalSign, and we can keep chatting there. Send me your favorite quotes. Tell me your favorite parts. Tell me the things that are standing out to you, what you want to talk about next time. If you've read ahead and you're like, you have to talk about this part, you have to tell me so I can pay attention and talk about the things you guys want to talk about. So anyway, you're all fabulous. Your hair looks really lovely today, and I'm so glad that we got to hang out. So I will see you guys soon. Bye.